doing resting blood pressure test. Um, the blood pressure is a measurement of the force on the walls of your arteries as your heart pumps blood through your body. So this can be very important as the amount of force can depend on how hard your heart will have to beat in order to pump blood to your body. A good reason to always want to check your blood pressure is because there's no real symptoms of a high blood pressure, which high blood pressure can lead to stroke, eye problems, kidney disease. So it's really important that you test it and keep track of it, as well as it being useful for a lot of other equations and as a fitness guide. So whenever you test it, you want to make sure you have the right equipment. This next word's pretty big, so just bear with me. You want to make sure you have your sphygomanometer, and that's basically the blood pressure cuff. You want to make sure it's the right size. If you're doing an adult male, you want to make sure you usually want to have the large cuff. You want to make sure everything's working on it, that your bladder inflates properly and the bulb, and that there's no leaks in any of the rubber tubing, and you want to make sure that you can close the air knob. Also, you want to make sure you have your stethoscope. Same thing here. You don't want any tears or anything in it. You want to make sure it works before you use it. That way you're not getting any false readings. So for resting blood pressure, you want to make sure that your client has been resting for 5 minutes, sitting up straight with a backed chair. And you also want to make sure that they haven't taken any caffeine or smoked within the last 30 minutes as well, because that can change the blood pressure. Normally you want them sitting up as part of the regular program, but sometimes you may want to do it laying down depending on the client, what diseases they might have or disabilities. Okay. So first, you're going to take the blood pressure cuff. You're gonna have to bring that camera in. Good, one second. Okay. So when you're wrapping the cuff around the arm, you want it to be on the upper arm at about heart level. And you're also going to notice on most of these blood pressure cuffs, it has a piece that'll tell you where to line it up with the brachial artery, which runs right in through the hollow of the elbow, the antecubital space right here. Just want to make sure that lines up with that. You want it to be tight enough that it's not going to slip off, but you don't want it too tight either. It's also important to make sure the tubes and things aren't rubbing together, because that can create noise, kind of make it hard to read the blood pressure. So when you're putting in the stethoscope, make sure the ear pieces are facing forward. That way they're properly in your ears and you can hear well. Alright, so you're going to place the stethoscope right below the antecubital space over the brachial artery. Now you don't want it touching the cuff, because again, they'll rub together and they'll create noise. Okay, so while I'm testing his heart rate, I'm going to pump up the gauge to 20 millimeters above the first Korsakoff sound. Normally that's right at about 200. And then as I let it loose, I'm going to release the pressure at a rate equal to 2 to 5 millimeters. And I'm going to be listening for the first Korsakoff sound. So what that is basically I'm going to be able to hear his pulse. And I'm going to release it until I can't hear it anymore, and that's going to give me the two numbers I need for his blood pressure. zoom on in here. So as I was taking his blood pressure, if you notice on the gauge, at a certain point, the needle started ticking. You don't want to go by that tick. You want to go by the sound in the stethoscope, because while normally they are pretty close together, in this case, the Korsakoff sound was about 10 millimeters different than when it actually started ticking. And like I said, for the second number, you just go until you can't hear the sound anymore. So, kid, your blood pressure was excellent. It was 120/80, which is good. It means your blood pressure is normal. It means your heart's functioning properly. You don't have any signs or symptoms, so everything's looking good.